Are expensive coffees worth the money? Of course, if you ask a coffee nut like me, I'm gonna say yes. So instead of doing that, we're going to get a bunch of ordinary coffee drinkers and get them to try 3 different coffees. A basic commodity grade coffee, a specialty grade single origin coffee, and a super expensive micro lot coffee, and then we'll ask them to pick which one they think costs the most.
This isn't that easy.
It's not my cup of tea, but that could probably mean it's quite fancy.
Will they pick it straight away? Will they like expensive coffee? Will I look like a complete idiot? Let's find out. But before we start serving up these coffees, I better explain why there is such a huge difference in price in the first place. Mostly, it comes down to what the coffee industry calls the cup score. It works like this. Professional coffee tasters complete a certification to become a certified Q grader, like our roaster Mike. Q graders follow a specific method of reviewing the unroasted coffee beans and then roasting, brewing, and tasting the coffee, which they then use to give each coffee a standardized score out of 100. The cheapest coffee in our lineup is a Brazil Santos, which has a cup score of just over 70, which means it is considered to be on the higher end of what is known as commodity grade coffee. This is the type of coffee you'll use as a base ingredient in many classic espresso blends. While it's not going to win any awards, it's certainly not bad. Maybe think of it like the Toyota Corolla of coffees. It's dependable, affordable, and it gets the job done. The next coffee is from Costa Rica. It has a cup score of 81 points. Coffees that score over 80 are generally considered to be specialty grade. This grade of coffee has more distinctive origin flavors and fewer defects than commodity grade coffees. You'll usually find this type of coffee sold as a single origin coffee or in more expensive specialty blends. Let's call it the BMW 3 series of coffees. Our final coffee is grown by a producer called Café Graña La Esperanza in Colombia and has a cup score of just over 90 points. This estate is known for producing elite high-scoring coffees, and the coffees they produce regularly win international awards and feature at World Barista Championships. Now, coffees at this level don't get blended and are generally only available as a special release through specialty coffee roasters. It's a bit like the Ferrari from Ferris Bueller. So we'll be brewing all 3 coffees using the Gold Cup brew recipe in our batch brewer. And we have set up a stand in our espresso bar in Sydney to get the tastings underway. So let's see what they think. So what we have here is 3 different coffees. One is 90 plus, 80 plus, 70 plus. That means the most expensive coffee you can possibly get. We have the cheapest coffee and we have a coffee that sits right in the middle. Your mission is to taste all 3 coffees and then line them up in whatever order you think is the most expensive to the cheapest coffee. And then we'll discuss it afterwards.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Make your guess.
Connoisseur.
I would probably put them in that order.
In that current order?
I will put them in that order.
Yep, so most expensive, middle of the range, and cheapest coffee.
Exactly.
Most expensive, middle of the range, and then cheapest coffee.
Yeah.
Sweet, lift up that cup and see how many dollar signs are at the bottom of the cup.
3.
3, that was the most expensive. Okay, lift up that cup and tell me how many dollar signs are at the bottom of it.
2.
2, so that is middle of the range.
Maybe that one's the middle, and then that one's the most expensive, because that one's the
Would you lift that cup up and tell us how many dollar signs are on the bottom?
Oh, it's on.
You picked it! Well done! Yes! So good.
So I have like no confidence in my own taste.
I think you should. You absolutely picked it. Okay.
Is it
this
the
is your
cheapest?
favourite and you called it the cheapest. Let's have a look. You nailed it! And then for our third and final, middle of the range, you picked it, all 3. Well done. Yep. Would you lift up that cup and tell us how many dollar signs are at the bottom?
3.
3, you nailed it. The most expensive coffee. Well done. How many dollar signs are at the bottom?
It's $1 sign.
$1 sign. Okay. At the bottom, and tell her how many dollar signs.
3.
3, you picked it. That is the most expensive coffee.
Yeah,
okay.
I know, because it's really fragrant,
Oh,
and that's
really?
not how I like my black coffee. But I always
Okay.
know they're the really good brands.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
We have
2.
$2 signs. That's middle of the range.
3.
3, you have picked the most expensive coffee. Well done. Cool.
Thank God, I was sweating there for a little bit.
3, you picked the most expensive. Well done. Nailed it. Yes. Well, because your palate is so good, we do have a prize for you as well, which is a bag of coffee.
Is it the expensive one that I didn't like?
Not yet. Okay, so this obviously was not a controlled tasting, more like a pub test of all the customers popping in for their morning coffee. That being said, we have crunched the numbers to get a sense of what people did go for. As you might have guessed from watching so far, plenty of people correctly picked the most expensive coffee. What surprised me was how many. 60% of our tasters picked correctly. While on the other end of the scale, exactly half of our tasters picked the cheapest coffee in the lineup. Most interesting of all, to me at least, was that at least 45% of people picked all three in the correct order. A really awesome effort despite so many people telling me that they don't know how to taste coffee. In terms of feedback, for those who correctly picked our expensive coffee, a few repeated themes did come up. Why did you think this one was the most expensive?
It actually had some substance and flavour to it,
Yep.
and quite complexity. With these
Yep.
ones, tasted watery to me.
Okay, yeah, right.
And on the second time round, that one tasted a little bit more complex.
What stood out for you?
The fruitiness.
The fruitiness?
Yeah,
Yep.
the sort of light nuances as well of
Yep.
flavour.
Of course, not everyone liked the most expensive coffee. Equal numbers of people preferred the two other coffees in the lineup.
That one I feel is way too fancy for me to have a black coffee. I feel like I wouldn't appreciate it because I'm a coffee drinker. Whereas this
So
one
good.
was definitely one if I was having a big day
Yep.
or I had a big night the night
Yep.
before, I could smash through that really, really easily.
The most cheapest coffee.
One.
Really? Why did you pick that one as your favorite
I
coffee?
thought that was the smoothest.
Yeah, the smoothest.
Yeah.
The bottom line is this: not everyone likes the same thing. And just because a coffee costs more doesn't necessarily mean that you will enjoy it. Some people prefer a coffee with a simple, no-nonsense flavor profile. And that is okay. There is no right or wrong when it comes to taste. But for those who do like something more adventurous, then it's these differences that make these coffees valuable. Speaking of adventurous, if you want to learn more about single origin coffees, then you should definitely watch this video next. And tell me down below, do you go for consistent, reliable coffees, or do you like more adventurous approaches to coffee? Just don't tell me about how Kopi Luwak is the world's most expensive coffee. That just doesn't count. But until next time, enjoy your coffees and stay stoked.